We have spoken about what is inflorescence and how many types of inflorescence are there and what is the difference between those two types. Today we shall discuss what is racemose inflorescence and how many types of racemose inflorescence is there. So let us start. So the first type of racemose inflorescence, as we know, it is where the main stalk or the peduncle, it grows indefinitely. The main peduncle or the rat case grows indefinitely. There is no flower at the terminal point. No flower at the axil, and the development is acropetal. What do we mean by acropetal? The oldest flower will be at the lowest point, and as they grow, the younger flower will be on the top and older flower will be at the bottom. Growth is acropetal. So these are the important points of racemose inflorescence. First is peduncle grows indefinitely. This is the peduncle, this will grow indefinitely. No flower at the axil. It will not be terminated by a flower at the terminal point. Then the growth is acropetal, means the flower at the lower point will be older, flower at the upper point will be younger. So this is the typical characteristic of racemose inflorescence. Now let us see what are the types of racemose inflorescence. So let us discuss them one by one. First that will come is raceme. Here the peduncle will be long and growing indefinitely, and then there will be flowers which will come out in acropetal manner. So it's a typical racemose inflorescence. Typical racemose. Raceme is known as blueprint of racemose inflorescence. So here we see the peduncle is growing indefinitely and the flowers are coming one by one, and stalked flower. This is peduncle and this is pedicel. That means it is the stalk of the flower, and the flower are pedicellate. Common example of raceme is mustard and radish. The important examples of raceme, mustard and radish. Now let us see the second type. Second type is known as compound raceme. Compound raceme, also known as panicle. This is nothing but it is raceme only, just that the stalk of the flower here is giving rise to another inflorescence. So it's like raceme within a raceme. That is why it is known as compound raceme. So they all grow in that way. Older one will be longer, younger one will be shorter. The rules are same. Just the development is a little bit different. So compound raceme or panicle. The example will be gulmohar, which is known as caesalpinia. Then the third type is known as spike. Again similar to raceme, but there is no stalk. That means flowers are growing on the peduncle itself. Sessile flower they are, And this is what? This is known as spike. Spike. Example of spike being amaranthus. Amaranthus. Example of spike, amaranthus. Now the fourth type is known as catkin. Now catkin is nothing but compound spike. Let us see how. So here also we have an elongated peduncle. But what happens? It is a compound spike. So there are spikes here, and the weight of the spike makes it hang. The inflorescence hangs down like pendulum. So again here also we have, and they will follow acropetal development. And here the flowers are sessile and unisexual. So as we move up, size will grow small. So this is the feature of acropetal development. So that's how it is. This is known as catkin. Catkin, or it is compound spike. Example is morus, mulberry. Morus or mulberry. So that's what acropetal development is maintained here, and the flowers are sessile, and they are also unisexual in this case. Now the next type will be spikelet. Spikelet. Here again the main axis same, elongated and growing indefinitely. Now here we have a special structure which is known as glume. This is nothing but modified bract. Now some of the glume will have inflorescence, but some will not have. They will be empty. So these are known as empty glume. Empty glume, and this is known as fertile glume. Fertile glume. Now the development in fertile glume is somewhat special type. It is like this is modified bract. Now there is one bracteole which is again modified into a structure known as palea. Then there are two lodicules. They are nothing but tepals, and tepals are what? Sepals and petals united. So that's a modification. This is known as lodicules. It's kind of thick substance. Then we have three androecium. And top of the androecium there is a feathery gynoecium. Feathery gynoecium. There's a lot of special features in spikelet. Now this whole thing will again be present in another fertile glume. Say this is a fertile glume. So the whole thing will be present again, but it will be smaller. So the acropetal development will be maintained. So this common example of spikelet is rice, wheat. Rice and wheat. Then the sixth type is known as spadix. So what happens here? Here the peduncle is little fleshy and it bears flowers which are sessile, and male and female flower are placed in a slight distance from each other. So here we have male flowers, male sessile, and these are female sessile. These are sessile flowers. Bottom portion has female flowers, top portion has male flower. Then and the peduncle is fleshy peduncle. Fleshy peduncle. Then what happens? The entire structure is covered by a colorful bract, since the flower are sessile and internal, so it needs something to attract the insect. So here the bract has become very colorful. This is known as spathe. Colorful bract which is known as spathe, and inside they have fleshy peduncle in which sessile male and female flower grows. This is also the peduncle is similar as it is in racemose. It is indefinite and the terminal portion is not covered by a flower. So it's a typical racemose inflorescence, but it is the whole inflorescence is covered in a colorful bract which is known as spathe. So this is spathic, and here we have 6 different types of racemose where the peduncle grows indefinitely. There is no terminal flower at the end, and the arrangement of flowers is acropetal. The older flowers are lower and the younger flowers are on the top portion. So this we have seen 6 type of racemose. Now there are 4 more left, out of which 2 are having little, the peduncle is smaller in size than these ones, and the last 2, the peduncle is totally compressed. So let us see those 4 types of racemose. So the next type is Gorim. As I told you, the Gorim and the other one that we shall be doing, they have small peduncle, but the arrangement will be same. Like acropetal arrangement and all those things are same, but the peduncle is small. The peduncle is small. So what happens in case of small peduncle? The nodes will be close together. The nodes will be all very close to each other, and the flowers will arise from the nodes. Flowers will arise from the nodes in acropetal manner. The flowers are arising in acropetal manner. So what happens in acropetal manner? The flowers which are down below, they have longer stalk, and the flowers which are on top, they have smaller stalk. And since here all the nodes are close together, from top, it looks as if they are in a level. They are in a level, but actually it is not so. It is an acropetal development of flowers, and it's a racemose inflorescence. So the below one, they are longer, and the upper one, they are smaller. So what happens, the final effect is they all fall on one plane and looks as if they are a bunch of flowers. Actually they are a bunch, but then they are racemose inflorescence. So the common example of Gorim is cauliflower. So this is it. Now next type that I'll discuss, that is again like Gorim, which is known as umbel. Here also the peduncle is small in size, even smaller than the Gorim, and the nodes are pretty close to each other. So close that it seems that all the flowers are coming from one point. All the flowers seems to be radiating from one point. But actually it is a compressed peduncle, so it seems as if they are coming from one point, but actually they are not coming from one point. They are coming from the individual nodes, but the nodes themselves are quite closely placed because the peduncle is reduced in size. So that is umbel, and common example of umbel will be this is simple umbel. It is the common example will be onion. Simple umbel. This is simple. Example being onion. Then we have a compound umbel which looks like this is a peduncle. Now each branch will give out one umbel. So this is umbel in umbel. So that makes it compound umbel. So this is compound, umbel, and the common example is coriander and carrot. So now these two types we have seen. The peduncle is little smaller than the earlier 6 ones. Now the last two that we shall be seeing here, the peduncle is totally compressed, either in a flat structure or in a ball-like shape. So let us see. So the one where the peduncle is flat, that is known as capitulum or head. Here what happens, this is a flat peduncle which we call rachis. Now just imagine a little, suppose it was long, then what would have happened? The nodes are placed like this and flowers come out like this, isn't it? Now if the whole structure is compressed, then what will happen? Won't the nodes just lie on a flat plane like this? Because it is compressed. So the nodes have come to lie on a flat top. Now the flowers that will come out, they will be like this. The older one on the sides and younger one on the middle. Older one on the side, younger one on the middle. So this is known as head, which we commonly see in sunflower, where the side flowers, they are very bright and colorful yellow color. These are known as ray floret. These are known as ray floret. And the middle ones, they are known as disc floret. There are some difference between ray floret and disc floret, which we shall discuss when we will do individual families. So as of now, you know that capitulum is a racemose inflorescence where peduncle is totally compressed into a flat rachis, and so the flowers are arranged on a flat surface, which though there are number of flowers, but they look like one flower. Here there are two types of flowers are seen, ray floret on the outside, on the periphery, and on the inner side it is disc floret. Example is sunflower, dahlia, marigold, etc. Commonly seen in family Asteraceae. Commonly seen in family Asteraceae. So this is about capitulum. Now we have the last one, which is known as capitate. Capitate. Here what happens? The peduncle is reduced to a small spherical structure. Small spherical structure, and the flowers come out as they do in Racemose inflorescence. The side ones will be larger and the middle ones will be smaller. So this is seen in acacia, then mimosa, where we get small ball-like inflorescence, isn't it? That is nothing but racemose type of inflorescence, where capitulum is suppressed into a ball-like structure and the flowers are arranged therein, and that type of inflorescence is known as capitate inflorescence. So these are the 10 types of racemose inflorescence. The first 6 types where we saw the peduncle was elongated, then the next 2 types where peduncle is little bit reduced, and the last 2 where peduncle is totally reduced. So with this we come to end of racemose inflorescence. Now we shall go into cymose inflorescence.